What it do, sports card fans, and welcome back to another episode of Hot in the Hobby, the show where we take you through which cards are red hot on fire the past week, driving markets forward. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Hollywood, joined alongside by Joe Nasty 90. All three major North American sports making today's list, buoyed by a couple baseball players. Interesting timing on those.
Truly.
So let's walk down that diving board and jump right on in. Hot card number one for the week is Ronald Acuna Jr. Of course, outfielder for the Atlanta Bravos. His 2018 Topps Heritage rookie card, number 580 in a PSA 10, was up, I don't get it, 258% to $77 over the past week. This was a $21 card last week. I'm sorry, but what?
Right.
This makes absolutely no sense. I understand people wanting to bet on his comeback. And I get we're at kind of the winter meetings, doldrums of the offseason for baseball. Actually, that should work against this card. But 258%?
That's weird.
I have to wonder sometimes with this stuff, like when I see stuff like this, are we just seeing market manipulation?
Yeah.
Like, are these cards getting paid? Are these actually getting paid for? Or are they just like selling? Or is someone shilling these auctions to get the price of this card up more? Because I see no reason for this. Atlanta, aside from Ronald Acuna Jr., tore his second ACL, and it's the other leg this time. Atlanta has also made zero off-season acquisitions for the most part. They've actually gotten worse because they lost Max Fried.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Acuna surprises a lot of people coming back from this surgery. I wouldn't doubt Ronald Acuna.
No.
But this is his second ACL, and as I said earlier, it's the other one this time. I doubt we'll ever see him steal 40 plus again. I do believe that Ronald Acuna still will hit 300 and hit darn close to 40 dingers. I still think he's one of the best players in baseball.
Yeah.
But the timing of this makes absolutely no sense. It really doesn't. And I'm sorry. I don't know how someone is paying $77 for this right now when it's a $20 card last week. I just don't get it.
No, I had to look up to see if there was news about him.
Yeah.
Because like it's super weird.
It's weird.
I was like, did he come out and say something?
And it's not just, there's 8 sales. It's not just one sale that ballooned this, 8.
I had the same thought as you. Like, there seems to be some funny business here. Like, maybe his agent is, like, maybe they're just trying to, again, get people talking about, oh, Ronnie's on his way back. But here's the thing about Ronnie.
I don't know.
Not only did he tear his other leg, the whole thing with the Braves early on through the season was their stars weren't starring.
No.
So, like, he got hurt in the middle of not necessarily playing that great. He was hitting 250. This is all in 50 games, by the way. So, a pinch of a sample size, but 250 with 15 RBIs and a lot of strikeouts racked up. This, for whatever reason, this box score doesn't have the 4 home runs in 50 games. So he's coming back from basically missing a whole year, ripping up both legs. This, that, whatever.
Yeah, it's a
granted.
Weird,
he is 26.
Yes.
Which is weird because it feels like he's been around forever.
Yeah, this is a weird price. It feels like someone's trying to pull some funny business a little bit. But yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the Braves. They're discount sluggers, let's say.
Right.
All put up discount numbers.
Riley had a down year.
Except for Ozuna.
And Olsen had a down year. Yeah. Ozuna was the older one, and he had perhaps one of his best years.
Yeah. And I mean, they also lost Spencer Strider in the first 3 weeks.
True.
Which was brutal.
That was.
Presumably they get him back, but now they lost Max Fried. So look, whatever. Ronald Acuna Jr. I think can be a great hitter, but for now I'm out, especially with that rise in price. Makes no sense. Moving on to card number 2 for this week, it is Karl Anthony Towns, the center for the New York Knickerbockers. His 2015 Prism base rookie card in a PSA 10. Now, keep in mind, I don't normally ever buy base cards for the most part, but we're just going to use this card as an example because it is up 164% over the past week to $66 per card. This was a $25 card just a week ago. 2024, how is Karl Anthony Towns playing? 24.9 points. That's 25 points a game. 13.6 boards, 3.2 assists on 53% shooting, and crazy 44% from downtown. Those downtown numbers will come down as the season goes.
Yeah.
The Knicks are 15-10, which is good for 4th in the Eastern Conference, and these are career numbers for the most part for Cat. He is once again kind of the focal point of an offense. Absolute beast on the boards. I mean, he is hitting the boards hard, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Cat kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit in Minnesota because Ant-Man was kind of like the shiny toy there, the shiny new toy.
Yeah.
But now that he's more like the guy, I can see why this is happening, why the prices of his stuff is going up. And to be honest with you, I don't mind this price increase. Honestly, I think he's a great player. He's a fun player to watch. He can do so many things. He can play with his back to the basket. He can play from the elbow. He can play from the perimeter.
Yeah.
He defends. He hits the glass. I don't mind this one. I really don't. I like Cat. I think he's a great player. If you're buying this for $66, I think is what it is if you're a Cat fan. This isn't a Ronald Acuna situation. I don't think this is up 100% because of shady business. Right?
No.
What are your thoughts on Cat?
I'm actually not really a huge Karl Anthony Towns guy.
Fair?
I think he had his shot in Minnesota. I think they tried to build that team around him. I thought they brought in, well, remember they drafted Andrew Wiggins, or at least they traded for Andrew Wiggins to go along with Karl Anthony Towns. They had Zach LaVine. I think they've done what they could. They brought in Rudy Gobert, perhaps stupidly, but it wasn't for lack of effort. And then you end up having this top pick with Anthony Edwards. So, like, everything with Karl Anthony Towns led to the point of where they had to draft Anthony Edwards. It was time to get shipped off. He got too expensive. The team was going nowhere. He was not the focal point of that team anymore. And it was time for him to get him out of town. Also, sort of what you said as a positive, I didn't necessarily love. You said the 44% as a three-point shooter. He really just started drifting out to the three-point line, which for a guy who is as skilled and a guy who is as big and can be physical, although I think he's kind of a soft guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. He's now playing alongside Jalen Brunson, who is the Knicks, basically to a T. He's tough. He's physical. New York loves him. He's a baller. And it seems like things are going well enough. 15-10 is not the sexiest record in the world, and I don't think they're anywhere close to being the best team in the Eastern Conference. Like, would you take them over Boston? Probably not.
No chance.
So it's going well enough for Cat. I think he's kind of a weird guy, too. This is a guy who, depending on the interview, is talking in different mannerisms.
Yeah.
So I'm just, $66 is a fine value. I'm with you on that, but I don't love Cat.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I hear 2015, I think of the Kentucky team that almost went perfect.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I also think it really depends who you're surrounded by. Like, yes, he's been surrounded by stars before, right? But it comes down to just who gels better with who. And clearly,
Absolutely.
And usually when you have a shakeup this big, it doesn't go so hot at the beginning of the year. The fact that they're 15-10, I think, says a lot. And what says more to me is the fact that the T-Wolves, who were the best team in the NBA last year, or one of the best teams in the NBA last year, they are 14-11, barely holding on to a playoff spot. I mean, I think they're out of the top 6 right now. They're in the play-in right now. Zach LaVine hasn't done crap in Chicago.
No,
right?
Always hurt.
So I don't really, I'm not ready to say Cat is not a solution. I think Cat can be a solution on the right team. We'll just see if the Knicks continue to get better with him.
Here's what to watch. Do you remember who's coaching the Knicks now? It's Tom Thibodeau. And I don't remember if he coached Cat early on in Minnesota.
Defensive mind.
So he famously wears guys, like, you're going to practice, you're going to play huge minutes, and I don't know if Karl Anthony Towns is built for that. And so these numbers, something to really keep an eye on as the year goes on, and something to keep an eye on when they make the playoffs. Like, does he have the juice later on? That's a big thing for me.
Well, we'll see.
We will. Moving
to card number 3. Pete Alonso, first baseman for who knows who.
now.
Yeah, his 2019 Topps Chrome rookie card in a PSA 10 is up. I also don't understand this one because it's up 113% over the past week to $40 per card. This was a $19 card just a week ago, and there's 11 sales of this. So this isn't a random sale. This is legit, dead ass, up 100+%. 2040, he hit 240 with 34 homers, 88 RBIs, a 788 OPS, and a 329 OBP. He is currently a free agent. So again, I don't know why. I'm not sure on this one. I don't know why it's up 100%. If he returns to the Mets or goes to the Yankees, then I would understand that. If he had signed like this past week, right? Then I would understand that. Maybe. But right now, I don't understand it. Maybe people are trying to get ahead of the train. Maybe people already know where he's going and I don't. But I'm not buying this because the only way that Pete Alonso gives you investment potential is if he hits a home run basically in an NL or ALCS clinching game or like a World Series.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, that's the only way he affects the game. I mean, outside of hitting for power, he is entirely an average baseball player. He's not marketable.
No, he's boring.
He's quite boring. Has no speed.
Most polar bears don't.
Yeah. His defense leaves something to be desired as well. I don't know why this card's up 100%. I'm not buying it. Pete Alonso.
He's from Florida. I think he's the furthest thing from
French.
From French.
Yeah.
You stated it pretty simply. You know what you're going to get out of Pete. He's going to hit, or he's going to get close to 40 home runs, and he's not going to have a very high average.
No.
Here's the fact of the matter. This year, the strikeouts went up, the RBIs and average went down. It was a year where he was basically a trade target, really a good portion of the year, and it would have been a lost year for Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
If not for that home run against Milwaukee in the wild card round. He didn't really accomplish much else, except for a little blooper single in Game 6 of inning number 1 of the NLCS, which gave the Mets a very brief 1-0 lead.
Didn't he hit a 3-run bomb?
Yeah, but what did it do? Right?
I mean, it gave them the lead.
Not overall in the series.
Well, no, that never happened.
So, you know what you're going to get with Pete. I'm seeing articles about like he's going to have a higher average per year than Freddie Freeman, which precisely.
Where did you read that?
I'll show you. I'll bring it up right now.
Who wrote that?
A sycophant.
Did Pete Alonso write that?
Probably his agent.
Yeah.
It was right here. Well, yeah. It's from Reddit.
Okay, it's a Reddit post.
But it could be from a report. He's going to get a big deal. He's going to get over $100 million. And I don't think that's necessarily worth it. And he's over 30 already, right?
Yeah.
He is 30, so he's literally over 30.
Yeah, but he probably has 3-4 more years of doing this left in him. So I think $100 million is actually worth it.
You think so?
I think so.
Despite all the things you listed out?
Yes.
He's basically a DH now?
$100 million? Yes. It depends how many years that $100 million is. But he's 30 years old. I have to imagine he plays this exact same level for at least three more years, maybe 4. If you're telling me it cost me $20 million, it cost me actually less.
So
right?
Newsweek said Mets are predicted to sign him to a $182 million deal.
See, that
is a bit much.
Is a lot. If you could get him for $100 million, I would do it in a heartbeat, right? Because to pay a guy $20 million a year to hit 35 to 40 homers a year, I think is a no-brainer.
Sure.
But yeah, to commit $180 million to him, I ain't doing it. But I also am not Steve Cohen, who will probably do it. So
yeah, maybe there's like a little hometown like please come back. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Both New York teams need that first baseman. That's for sure.
They both need him, but the nice part for both of the Mets and the Yankees is I think neither of them need to overspend and over pursue Pete Alonso because they very well know. I'm pretty sure that both Alonso and Christian Walker are going to end up in New York. And I think whatever team kind of bites first, the other team's just going to say, you know what, fine, we'll take Christian Walker.
I think a lot of it has to do with Bregman, too.
And Bregman, yeah. But let's move on to hot card number 4, our last hot card of the week. And it is LA Rams running back Eric Dickerson. If you haven't heard of him, you're probably pretty young.
Very young.
Yeah. His 1984 Topps NFC Pro Bowl card in a PSA 8 was up 92.7% to $37 per card with 9 sales this week. This was an $18 card just a week ago. Of course, Eric Dickerson, Hall of Famer, 13,259 yards, 90 touchdowns, had a 4.4 yards per carry, yards per rush average. He is the single season rush yards record holder at 2,105 yards. He did it in 1984. It still stands to this day. Let's be real. The reason this card is in the news right now is because of Saquon Barkley,
Yes.
who is in pursuit of his record, and he is on pace to break Eric Dickerson's rushing record. But the seasons are longer now, so a lot of records fall in time. I'm not buying this, but I think it's cool whenever a legend becomes relevant again for whatever reason. Except for that, I don't know if you saw the whole.
I did.
Except for that whole Mark Gastineau thing with Brett Favre. Apparently you saw it. I know a lot of us saw it. He basically, I guess he'd never met Brett Favre or something, and met him at some sort of signing that Brett was doing, and Brett was being his normal, kind Southern self, joking around at the beginning of the conversation, and Gastineau there was no jokes to be had with Mark Gastineau.
He was waiting for that moment.
He was pissed. He'd been. You could tell he was stirring that moment in his head for a decade, more, because pissed that he gave that Favre went down on that Michael Strahan sack that broke Gastineau's record, which also got broken again, by the way.
Did it? By TJ Watt?
Anyways,
Or
by
someone?
TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Or TJ Watt tied Strahan, right? So Gastineau, you wouldn't even be the record holder anyways, even if Strahan didn't get that sack. But anyway, going back to Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, right.
I ain't buying the card. I do think it's cool. 1984 is the year that he broke the single season rushing record. That's the year on the card.
That's cool.
As well, which is cool. I think it's cool that Saquon's doing this. But yes, Saquon does have an extra game to do it. But so is the nature of sports. Records are made to be broken. And here we are.
Is there a better running back aesthetic than Eric Dickerson, though?
I don't think so.
The goggles, the Jerry curl, and the neck roll. And this was a guy who was pretty. You think running backs, you think shorter, stockier, lower to the ground? Dickerson had that upright, fluid running style that left him open to be hit, and he still did all of this. The best running back aesthetic.
And in those old school Rams unis.
Which is why I think this card could be kind of sexy to have, because all of that together, that's pure. He is the Rambassador.
It's pure linebacker.
It's pure linebacker at the or safety at the running back position.
Yeah.
This is a record, you put that with the Joe DiMaggio 56 gamer, I figure would never get broken for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Unattainable, no one runs anymore.
Yeah.
But here are the Eagles. The extra game, plus their determination to actually run the ball, has it in danger, which I find kind of remarkable. But I don't know. I kind of hope Saquon doesn't break it.
I kind of do too.
I hope, or if he does, I hope he does it within 16 games. You know what I mean?
I hope so too.
So
I hope it's not by 8 yards in the fourth quarter of week 18. You know, that would be a bummer. When the Eagles are up by 30 already.
Right.
That would suck.
Yeah.
That would suck. Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode of Hot in the Hobby. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, because if you don't, we will probably have to get real jobs.
Please
we
don't.
actually already have real jobs.
Please don't make me keep going tomorrow.
But if you do like and subscribe, we can quit our real jobs. So until next time, I'm Mr. Hollywood. That's Joe Nasty. And help us quit our jobs.
Yeah.
For the moment, still living the 9-to-5 American dream, Mr. Hollywood, Joe Nasty.
Clocking in.
Doesn't work, it's off.
No.
Out.